So welcome to the review of the Voodoo Zobop, I think that's how you pronounce it, E, with the E8000 motor. There are two variants of this bike. Oh, sorry, I'm a little bit out of breath. The reason I'm out of breath is because I've been finding it very difficult, even with all this open space, to find somewhere to record this review of this bike. And I've waited this long to review the bike because I didn't want to feed into that buzz. You know what I mean? That buzz of getting something new. So I wanted to ride it for a while. So a week later, 200 miles later, let's have a look. Actually, it's 202. Oh, it's a rabbit. See that? What reviews do you get? And a rabbit pops out on you. So as I say, let me just get this up. 202 miles. This flickering is not on the actual screen, it's just because I'm recording. So 202 miles. So I know this bike very well. I've put it through its paces. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, by no means. I'm definitely no means an expert, but I do feel like I know this bike very well. I know its strengths and I know its weaknesses. It's got very few weaknesses, and I'm going to point them out right away. The biggest weakness of this bike: single piston brakes. They're adequate. That is all they are, adequate. As soon as you start getting them wet or muddy, they start to fade. And what does that mean? Is you have to press and press and press and press the brake, and less braking actually happens. So if I'm going to upgrade anything on this bike, it's going to be the braking system. But let's be real, this bike costs £2,300. That is incredibly cheap for what you get, incredibly cheap. You get a 500 watt motor, battery, and you get an E8000 motor. The beating heart of this bike is fantastic. It's their Shimano's top of the range motor. You can spend £10,000 on an e-bike with the same motor and you're going to get exactly the same performance out of the motor. Exactly the same. The gearing might be different, the wheels might be different, but essentially the motor will be identical. The money goes into other parts, but that's for another day. So that's the main shortcoming of this bike. It's definitely the braking. I do plan on upgrading them at a later date. Suspension's been absolutely fantastic. I've been on some really gnarly trails, if that's the right word. And these tyres, they're 2.8 inches thick. They grip for days, literally days. I've never had them slip out. If you're doing a really steep climb, you might get some wheel spin, but it always finds grip in the end. And it gives you that boost and that confidence to hit any hill you want to see. So you see a hill, you're gonna conquer it. You will conquer it on this bike. You will conquer any hill you want, as long as you're relatively fit. Don't forget, an e-bike motor will only give you as much as you give it. So you have to match its power. So it's not like a motorbike, where a lot of people think that e-bikes are just motorbikes but run on electricity. Far from it. These motors are incredibly complicated because the amount of force you put into the pedal is matched by the motor and then amplified. So there's a lot of mathematics involved and sensors to make that work. So these are really, really smart pieces of equipment. And this 500 watt battery, I get about 45 miles of hard riding. I could easily, if I was riding this on the road with my suspension locked, 60 miles without question. It is a very, very efficient motor, very, very punchy motor, and I highly recommend you pick the E8000 motor over the E7000. There's been a few questions about the differences, and I'll tell you the main difference, how you tell the difference between the motors. On the E8000 motor, you see the silver strip, it's thin and shiny. On an E7000 motor, it's thicker and duller. So some people have been ordering the E8000 motor and getting the E7000. So they're actually getting a newer motor, but a less powerful motor. I would still go for the more powerful motor. This is still the top of the line, the cream of the crop that Shimano gives to the market. So I highly recommend this motor. I haven't had a single issue with it. It's been blown away. I'm coming from a Bosch ecosystem, and I actually prefer the Shimano system. I do. Charging times is one of them things that annoy me. So this 700 watt battery takes 5 to 7 hours to charge. Too long. I need to get a fast charger. Definitely need a fast charger. The saddle fantastic. I can't believe it. I normally buy one of them old man's like seats, like gel seats that are much wider, but I've left this on there because I've actually found it really comfortable. As I said, I've ridden this for over 200 miles, no issues whatsoever. But it is a full suspension bike. What else can I say about it? It's fantastic. It is just a fantastic piece of equipment, and it is such a great way to see this. I'm actually hidden away because on the top of the hills there are people, so I'm trying to avoid the people to make this video. This is actually the 4th time I've tried recording this video because people have just popped up, turned up, and ruined me recording it. So, in conclusion, fantastic bike, fantastic like value for money, just a fantastic bike. Just buy it already. You won't be like regretting your choices, I guarantee it. All bikes have their issues. Shimano has code issues, so it'll fire up a code if you do something it doesn't like. Normally you just take the battery out, put it back in, and that resets. I haven't had any code issues that I haven't been able to remedy by just turning it off and on again. And that's just if you put your feet on the pedals while you're turning on the device, and then you'll get an E013 code. So you don't put your feet on the pedals and you won't get the code. And since I haven't put my feet on the pedals, I haven't had a single code. So it's been absolutely flawless. Oh, okay. I know. I told you, this is lazy. I'm not a reviewer. I'm just telling you my thoughts on this bike. And this is my super lazy review. Another thing that I don't like about e-bikes over normal bikes, and this is, actually I wouldn't say e-bikes, this particular bike, is the amount of time I have to oil the chain and clean the chain. I know it sounds stupid, but my Active Line Plus motor, I could get away with oiling the chain every 100 miles. This needs its chain oiling and cleaning and oiling every 50 miles or so. I think it's because it's got the extra power. It's just burning through that oil. And it's got a smaller chain ring than the Active Line Plus. So maybe you're using a chain more. I don't know. I'm no professional. You shouldn't even be really watching this review, to be honest. But I know what you've done. You've looked at the price of the bike on Halford's website. You went, let me just YouTube that and see what it's like. And you're going to be hard pressed to find a bad review, to be honest. This bike, it's changed my life. It sounds stupid, but it really has. It's given me a thirst for adventure, and that's what an e-bike should do to you. It should give you a thirst, and it should quench that thirst. Well, it shouldn't quench that thirst, actually. It should help you quench that thirst. Any questions, pop them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Until next time, guys, take care.